Where Can I Retire? No, that's not the title of a new book by Andrew Allentuck. His book is called When Can I Retire? But he does spend some time talking about some of the places a Canadian, baby boomer or not, could retire to when and if they could do so. So welcome back, Andrew.
Thank you, John.
And I know you looked, I don't know whether you talk about Switzerland, U.S., Mexico, etc. Are these all spots you personally have traveled to?
I've visited them. I haven't really thought of retiring there because in each case, each country, each jurisdiction poses special problems. Switzerland, for example, is relatively expensive. The United States creates tax problems for foreigners who are resident in the United States. Mexico has problems that are at the moment unique to Mexico and that I wouldn't wish on anybody, although I'm sure the whole country is not overrun with drug gangs. The parts of it are, and it's a terrible tragedy.
It is. The U.S., for example, there's a phrase that struck me in the book where you talk about once you become a dual citizen tax-wise of, say, Canada and the United States, you're going to have 10 times the tax complications and accounting nightmares.
Well, it isn't quite citizenship, John. It's residence. If you're a Canadian or a foreigner resident in the United States, and, well, you will have to pay U.S. taxes and you will pay Canadian taxes, and you'll receive tax credits. Generally on the basis of where you pay the higher tax. If you're a Canadian tax person resident in Canada, you live part of the year in the United States. You get certain money. If you live in more than half the year in the States, you'll have to file 2 returns. You need to seek tax counsel. Generally, the rule is that if you have, when you get 2 countries to report to, you get 10 times the problems. If you die in the United States with real property, if you own an apartment, a condo, a house, if the thing is not protected by some kind of a shell, like a corporation or a trust, it goes into your worldwide assets that the U.S. will seek to tax. You have high U.S. succession duties. It's a terrible tangle of problems that a casual person need not get into. If you're only going to spend a couple of months of the year, you may be better off just to rent.
Certainly when I've read books like The Border Guide or A Canadian and American vice versa, my conclusion was it'd be a lot simpler just to stay in one country, and that's Canada. And second of all, we had such a mild winter this winter, maybe we're not going to have these terrible winters.
Well, we can't predict the weather. The United States has many wonderful qualities, and there are many wonderful reasons to be there, but you can pick other jurisdictions with fewer problems. For example, you can go to Barbados, which has a tax treaty with Canada. If you're in Barbados, you can get your OAS and CPP. There will be a 15% withholding tax, which may be less than you would wind up paying in Canada. You have good weather. I understand it's a very nice country, and you don't have all of the local succession and income taxation issues that you would have if you were in the United States.
And another one, I think you talk about Panama.
Yes, Panama is one of the, from what I understand, one of the last places where banking, let's say discretion, is given a high priority by the financial system. A lot of the other countries have made accommodations with the U.S. Internal Revenue Service, and Canada is attempting to make accommodations as well with Swiss and other so-called tax haven banking authorities. Switzerland, by the way, is not a tax haven. It's rather a country of reasonable and predictable taxation, but it's not low taxation by any means.
But Andrew Allentuck intends to retire in Winnipeg.
Andrew will retire probably in Canada, likely in Winnipeg where I live, because I can tell you after about 40 years of living there, I'm not afraid of the winters anymore.
And hopefully, well into your advanced old age, Andrew, will still be producing books like When Can I Retire? And maybe your next one will be Now That I'm Retired, I Can Tell You It's Wonderful. Thank you very much, Andrew Allentuck of When Can I Retire?
Thank you, John.